The Dodgers Nation post-game show. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Thanks for rocking with us after the Dodgers have their 4-game winning streak snapped at the hands of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They get shut out by a final score of 3-0. Blake Snell, fastball velocity was down a couple of ticks. The Dodgers weren't able to muster up any offense. Blaze Alexander hit a 2-run shot, and the Dodgers... Is this a blip? Is the offense going back into a slump? We're going to talk about all of that. But first, look who it is. Your favorite. He's not Pedro Pascal. He's Michael Duarte. NBCLA's Michael Duarte. Follow him on X and Instagram at Michael Duarte. Follow his TikTok as well. Read his stuff at NBCLA. And I see people on social media saying, okay, this was... one of the more uneventful. Check out, they got the merch, got the NBC4 merch there. That this is one of the most uneventful games of the season. I mean, Blake Snell still was dealing. I mean, the strikeouts were there on the secondary pitches. Fastball velocity just did not have that same life. We'll talk about what he said after the press scrum that was extremely interesting. We'll get to that, but just initial takeaways from this game, Michael.
My biggest takeaway is this was one of the most boring games we have seen from the Dodgers this year. The 7th time they've been shut out this season, and this may have been, like I said, one of the most snooze fest of them all. There are a couple positives, I suppose, you could take away. They hit the ball hard. Will Smith looked like he had tied the game up with a 3-run homer, fell just short of the warning track. And that kind of was the end of that rally and the closest they came to scoring some runs and really making something happen. Mookie Betts had the only Dodgers extra base hit with a double. Good to see him still swinging the bat well. I don't know if it was the off day, if it was the Mookie Betts paddleball tournament that he did for his 50-50 charity that you were at, I was not at. That maybe caused this offensive starvation that we saw today, but I hope it's just a blip because this Diamondbacks team is headed in the opposite direction of the Dodgers right now, and they really need to take 2 of the next 3 games here to keep not only ahead of the Padres in the West, but also get back into that NL number 2 seed, which they're now a game behind the Phillies. We want to see them get ahead of them so we can have that bye into the DS and not have to play a crazy 3-game wild card game against any of these teams out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a Dodgers team that was rolling 26 runs during that 4-game winning streak. You're hoping that carries over. And sometimes when your team is rolling, you dread an off day. When your team is struggling, like, let's get an off day, let's reset. That off day, I think, came at a bad time. I mean, it was a busy day in Dodgers land. Dave Roberts had an event for Verizon.
Yep, all access here.
All access here. The pickleball event. I'm sure guys were just resting and relaxing. And look, baseball is going to baseball. You do have to tip your cap to Zach Gallen, who has not been great this year. He was really good in the month of August, a sub-3 ERA, but he had his way with his Dodgers offense. I think you point out that was the key moment there in the 6th inning. The Dodgers, couple of men on base. You had the tying run at the plate. And Will Smith, he does fly out. And we're still kind of waiting for him to really just kind of explode again after not having a down month. And look, all players are going to slump. You hope that this is nothing that's prolonged for Will Smith. But 7th time this season that they've had 3 hits or less, 7th time they've been shut out. So hopefully that this is nothing where tomorrow they struggle, on Sunday they struggle, and tomorrow you kind of get that slug back. But kind of my question was, look, there was all this talk about, okay, we want to have more of a team bat approach, and we're going to let the slugging come naturally. And yes, there was some hard contact in this one, but just not enough rallies. I mean, not enough base runners in this one. And it did feel like there were some big swings in this one. They were trying to just force a comeback, and it just was not there.
Yeah, Dave Roberts said something interesting after the game, because you guys all saw it, I'm sure, watching the game at home, or for those of you who are here at the stadium for this, World Series, Sandy Koufax themed drone show that was behind us a few minutes ago. You guys all saw the same thing. This did not look like the Dodgers offense over the last 4 games that has scored 6+ runs in each and every one of those games. This looked like a very stagnant Dodgers offense, little lazy, little tired, lackadaisical, like you said, not kind of putting runs together, working pitches, getting on base. Teo's walk at the end was nice to see, but we didn't see enough of that throughout the rest of the 8 innings. And Dave Roberts, after the game, agreed with all of you, what your eyes saw at home, what my eyes saw here in the press box, what Doug's eyes saw as well. And that was the at-bat quality that we've seen over this 4-game winning streak. It was not the same at-bat quality we saw in the batter's box tonight. That's something Dave Roberts mentioned. I actually asked Teoscar Hernandez about that after the game. He didn't really want to get into it or blame his teammates, which I understand. He wanted to give all the credit and tip his hat to Zach Gallen, who, as Doug mentioned, sub-3 ERA in the month of August. He's been pretty good in his last few starts. 5 straight wins against NL West opponents. These are the guys he plays 13 times a year. He knows them very well. He knows the Dodgers very well. So I think he does get a little bit of credit tonight, but I think the Dodgers maybe hit snooze on their alarms today, and they did that throughout the game.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, like, yes, he has pitched better this August, but I'm kind of sick of seeing this year. You kind of hear this sort of trickle in when it comes to the Dodgers against a struggling pitcher. You hear it's like, oh, X-pitcher struggled all season long, but he's having his best game against the Dodgers. And is it because of the Dodgers and things are magnified? And we know Zach Gallen heading into free agency wants to put himself in a really good spot to get a payday. And it felt like a little Galentine's Day action at Dodger Stadium. But yeah, I mean, look, they didn't have that spark. I think that's what it was. I mean, you needed a little bit of a spark. You need that big hit, that timely hit, and just not enough offense in this one. But let's not bury the lead here. The big story in this one was Blake Snell. And it wasn't the fact that he was still effective. I mean, did he get outpitched by Zach Gallen? The answer is yes. Wasn't able to complete 6 innings. But still, you look at his line, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks through 86 pitches, 56 first strikes. His ERA on the season at 2.41. You feel good about that. And on the scoring, came in the 4th inning, and he gives up the 1-out single to Gurriel, strikes out Moreno with that curveball down, nasty pitch, and then gives up the bomb to Alexander, makes it a 2-0 game, and they were able to add another run later in the 6th after the Corbin Carroll double and then the Moreno single to center. So it's not like he got rocked by any stretch, but the velocity was down 1.9 miles per hour on his season average, and that was, you could tell, Michael, there's always like one question, you know, that there's multiple reporters, they just can't wait to ask it, right? And Dave was asked about it, and he said that it's been a difficult week for him just because his wife had a child, and I'm sure that there's a lot of things that go along with that, right? And then you look at him, what he said to us after the game was that he wasn't concerned. He said he had zero concern about it, but something very interesting was after his scrum was over, and I hope this is why you guys tune into this show, because you get to hear things you will never find on any other show.
The BTS stuff.
We're
not talking about the band that comes
V?
on now. We're not talking about V or Sugar or the guys that come here on the field for the Dodger games. We're talking about the real behind-the-scenes action, the stuff that we're not allowed to talk about that goes on in the locker room, in the clubhouse, and when the cameras and mics are off.
Yeah, and what Snell said was that he'll say in a month why the velocity was down, and that gave me confidence just because clearly there's something very specific that they're pointing to for why it was trending down. Because when the velocity, it's not like he's a guy who relies like 100 miles per hour to be effective, but when it's at 97, 96, it really makes those secondary pitches play up more. And I think it was the difference tonight between 8 strikeouts and double-digit strikeouts. But what do you make of the velocity, the diminished velocity in this one, Michael?
Okay, there's a couple things. First and foremost, Dave kind of wanted to say it's been a very wild week for Blake Snell. He comes off a start 5 days ago or 6 days ago, pitched very well, obviously, and then wife goes into labor, goes straight to the hospital, goes on the paternity list. And the biggest thing about being on the paternity list is not, you have a brand new newborn baby, which for those of you out there that have kids know there's a lot of sleepless nights there, a lot of excitement, a lot of, being with your wife in the hospital while she's in labor, and you don't know how long that can take. It can take a few hours or it can take 20 plus hours. So he didn't want to point the finger at that. He even said specifically after the game, it had nothing to do with lack of sleep. It was more his routine being disruptive in the days between starts. We're talking when you do your weightlifting day in the gym, when you do your playing catch day, when you do your bullpen session. Those were kind of the things. And I don't know specifically what Blake Snell does. Some guys throw weighted balls in there to keep their velocity up, to keep the arm strength up. Some guys like Yamamoto throw the javelin. I don't know what Blake Snell does specifically in some of those, between those off days, but it sounds like he wasn't able to do that. That hurt it as well. Also, as I wrote about before the game, Max Muncy is home with an illness. He's got a bit of a cold. I know there's a lot of viruses and colds going around right now. It's possible Blake Snell is also battling sickness or something in recent days. That can always be a reason why you're not feeling great, while velocity can dip. But I texted a source after the game, they had zero concern. This is someone who works for the Dodgers front office. They had zero concern physically or injury-wise with Blake Snell's velo. They believe it'll be back up. It was weird, though, that Blake Snell said, I'll tell you guys in a week, because if it's something as simple as a virus or something in his routine between games he wasn't able to do, why is it something he doesn't want to disclose until the regular season is over? Probably, and he's done this before, when we pitched against the Padres here and then was going to pitch against them in San Diego, he didn't want to give away too much of his strategy or anything. He might be a guy that doesn't want to give his opponent absolutely anything for them to zero in on. And so that's probably why he wants to wait to tell us in a month.
He's a veteran, right? He's going to keep things close to the vest, right? I mean, that's what he's going to do. But, I mean, it's not like it was insignificant. I mean, 1.9 miles per hour is something to consider. I mean, he topped out at 95.3. Average 93.5, changeup, curveball, slider. Those are down.
He only gave up 4 hits though tonight too, man.
Only gave 4 hits. Only gave 4 hits.
One fastball. It was a 93 mile per hour fastball instead of his 95, which is his average on the year. Low and in to Blaze Alexander that he hit out. Other than that, I thought he had pitched a really good performance. Shoot, Doug, Clayton Kershaw gives up 4 hits in an entire inning sometimes in one inning and still gets out of it with no runs. Unfortunately, Blake Snell gives up 4 hits in almost in the 6th, going into the 6th inning. Cost him 3 runs. His offense didn't show up, cost him the game. So that's just the way baseball is sometimes. And, you know, things were going so good for the Dodgers over the last few days. It's baseball gods reminding us that this is a game that is full of struggles as well as triumphs. So today was a struggle day. It was a day, like we said, after an off day. So hopefully they wake up tomorrow and take the next 2, 3.
Yeah, on the Alexander homer, that was a fastball that it was center cut. He hit it out. The slider down, kind of left it up. The other hit, the changeup that led to a run, that was a little off the plate, not the worst pitch. And usually see with Blake Snell, one of the things that makes him so effective is when he misses either way off the plate intentionally to where opponents can't do damage off of him. And this one, he was executing pitches in the zone that they were hitting. So I think the difference between a Kershaw and a Snell in this situation is, let's be honest, I mean, for the rest of the season, the conversation is, where does Blake Snell fit in the top of this rotation when the postseason begins? So you're holding him to this extremely high standard where if he's lights out, if he continues to pitch like he has since he's returned from the injury, then you start to have the conversation where he's at. I mean, I'm not trying to like get into a complete tangent. We'll have time to talk about that in a second here, but this is an evaluation period for this front office, for this baseball team. And I think for Blake Snell, it wasn't the worst start in the world, but it'd be nice if he was able to get some run support. And
I mean, he was 2 outs away from a quality start, and he still would have been the losing pitcher of records. So, I mean,
it's one of those games where
your offense has to show up as well. And today, I think
it's magnified.
We want to look at Snell, and we want to look at the velocity dip. He has had a wild week. He just had a brand new baby. Work messed up his routine, and pitchers are amongst all baseball players are creatures of habit, especially starting pitchers. But this offense needs to do better than 3 hits behind him, especially against an Arizona team that is struggling. They weren't out there against Paul Skeens, you know what I mean, where hits are going to be hard to come by. I think they should have done a little better offensively tonight, but sometimes you're going to run into games like this.
Yeah, you want to grind out at bats. I mean, you still have 2-game lead on the Padres in the division. You're a game back on the Phillies for the 2nd seed in the National League. The thing you just don't want is for a team to lose games that they should win and get complacent against bad opponents. I think there's too much that's being made about, oh, the Padres have the easiest schedule down the stretch. The Dodgers have the 24th easiest schedule down the stretch. The truth is, these are Major League Baseball teams. If there's any sport where variance comes into play and anyone can beat anyone.
Like the Padres lost to the Twins tonight, and that's a team that
they lost 3-4.
Traded over half their team at the deadline. So
exactly,
you know, things can happen any given day.
Let's read some comments though. Let's see what we got here, guys.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see the comments.
Oh, here we go.
Hopefully, I get to see them. Doug has hid them from us.
No. We got to figure this out. Give me 1 second here. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, the ump was trash for both sides. I mean, the game was a 2-hour, 39-minute game. I think he had early reservations at the Palm in downtown or something.
Hey, yeah, I'm back, Sawyer Lund.
Yeah, we got.
But I agree. Muncy back in this lineup. Even when things are not going right, Muncy will work a professional bat. He sees a lot of pitches. Kim Edman, that's always good to happen too. The home plate umpire tonight missed a lot of bad calls. You know what though, Doug? For those people in the chat, there was a lot of takeaways tonight. My biggest takeaway off the field was that D-Mac eats his dinner with a spoon.
Okay.
Salad, chicken, veggies. No knife and fork.
You know what's crazy? It's
He's
funny.
not a knife and fork guy like the rest of us.
Okay,
Doug eats everything with a spoon. I admire that.
No, this is a theme.
I admire that.
This is look. If you guys know this show, you guys know I'm not afraid to get roasted, to get called out about anything, and this is something that you guys don't know about me. Clearly, you didn't know this about me, but that is something that I do, and I don't know like how
really unique. I liked it.
I eat everything with a spoon. So it's funny. So true story. My sister, she'll get me like gifts where it's just a lot of spoons. She'll buy me spoons because I eat everything with a spoon. The spoon is the perfect utensil. I use it as a big shovel. You know what I mean? I use a big shovel. Sometimes I do it the Filipino way where you put you use the fork to pile it on. But the reason I like the spoon is because like for example the salad, right? Like I don't want to like stab into that thing.
I've seen people eat spaghetti with a spoon and a fork instead of a knife and fork.
Well, because the thing is the spoon can be.
I've never seen a spoon for a salad.
The spoon, and that's okay. The spoon is a knife.
You need that fork to get in there to the lettuce. This is like deep iceberg.
The spoon
lettuce.
you just gotta balance it. Okay. Like,
Doug's scooping out like iceberg lettuce and dressing.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I will say the spork people out there.
The spork's the perfect invention.
The spork would be perfect.
It's like electricity, the seatbelt, and spork. I mean, like some of the best inventions ever.
I saw on social media. I know there was a lot of stuff trending tonight. A lot of people talking about stuff on social media, but I saw that there needs to be a fourth utensil and
look at there. Look, yep.
Fork entering the.
Dax is calling me
something has to happen.
Dak calls me a caveman. Pickle calls me that's diabolical. DMAC equals Geico. Eating salad with a spoon is egregious. DMAC is golden. Snap with DMAC eats like a baby. LMFAO. Everything with a spoon. All right, fine. You know what that one is? Confess, mister. Confess.
Do you eat ice cream or cereal with a fork, or is it just the spoon only?
You gotta have a weird eating habit. Come on, something.
A weird eating habit?
There's gotta be something.
I don't know.
No, this guy eats.
I think just being a vegetarian alone is weird enough for the people in the chat.
No, that's totally cool. That's totally cool. All right,
being plant-based is.
Let's hear from Blake Snell. And
my man card.
No, not even. Let's hear from Blake Snell. Want to get your guys' take on Snellzilla, his starts now. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the defense. Have we seen enough improvement from Teoscar Hernandez?
Defense, that's a good one to talk about. We know what he's been doing in between games, guys, to bustle more out there in right field.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to hear
That'll be something. But hey, watch this clip of Blake Snell and then go on his social and congratulate him. He's a father. Congratulations to Blake Snell and his newborn.
Awesome stuff.
When you look at your outing today, even Dave Roberts was just saying the velo was down just a bit. Secondary pitches you were able to kind of grind through this one. How would you just kind of describe your outing today as you were able to get through most of their lineup just kind of there in the fourth and then I guess in the sixth, just kind of them finding ways to attack you?
Yeah, I mean, not just bad pitches. I don't think they found ways. I think bad pitch down and in, it's just not a good pitch. Kirill gets on from a fastball away single. Like, I'm okay with that pitch. Corbin, like the sequencing to get to that hit was bad. That was something where I messed up there, which I'll clean up. And then Moreno's hit just to change up. That was up. If I get it down, it's different. Yeah, it's frustrating, but I know what I need to do, and yeah, I'm looking forward to facing them again towards the end of the season. So I can't wait.
How much were you kind of noticing, like, the velo drop? Was that?
I mean, yeah, I had a busy week, man. A lot going on. There's a lot. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I know what's going on, so it'll come back. I'm zero worried about it. Just, yeah. I mean, I was aware of it, but I'm not gonna push it. It's just, it is what it is. It's what I had today, and just got to be better.
How much sleep have you had this week?
It's not sleep. Yeah, I'm good there. But yeah, I'll have a full week of catch and playing, and I'll be fine. Next outing, be right back where it was, and yeah, we'll be good.
When your velo is down like that on the fastball, do you go to the secondary pitches a little more because they look really good tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on the lineup and execution, and yeah, I mean. But today was a game where I just had to battle and figure stuff out. And then, as the game went on, I was learning more and more, and then I threw mistakes. And yeah, I mean, the second I let the fastball go down and in, I was pretty frustrated with it. But something you'll learn, and yeah, just get ready for the next one. Thank you.
So it was Blake Snell after this one. Like I said, it's only magnified because the Dodgers got shut out, but he did his job like a commenter said here, and he gave the team a chance to win, like you point out.
Everyone in the chat is not blaming Blake. They're blaming the Dodgers offense, and I would too. Look, the umpire, his strike zone was not at his best tonight, to say the very least. But that doesn't change that down and in fastball that Blaze Alexander hit out of the park, and he crushed it like 400 feet. And so even if you take some of those walks away, the Dodgers still lose, what, 1-0 at the very least?
Yeah.
Maybe 2-0. You know, the Dodgers offense was just not there tonight. You can't get through it with 3 hits, regardless of how the umpire is calling the game. Those hitters, they need to put the. I mean, look, we'd have some hard contact right at guys though, but this was just not a good night for the offense, not at all.
Not a good night for the offense, but if you're going to find a positive in this one, our Michelada half full take, Teoscar Hernandez's defense, since they left Coors Field in Colorado, where a couple misplays, one that probably cost him a game, the range has been better. The effort has been better. You're seeing less bloops fall in front of him on plays where you can step back. You're seeing him get to balls and have better angles. And tonight, he made really the defensive play of the game for the Dodgers, top of the 4th inning. He makes a really nice play on one. Corbin Carroll hits it. It looks like it's going to fall. He slides and he kind of snow cone catches it. It was originally ruled a hit. Then they
double,
It was ruled a double, and he was confident that that was not going to be a hit. They reviewed it. Clearly, he made the catch, and I think that it kind of epitomizes the last couple of weeks for himself, and the fact that, hey, this guy, it's not like he's slow. I always hear people, D-Mac, he runs like Frankenstein's monster or this and that. No, the dude is an above-average runner. I mean, the dude is a faster runner than Mookie Betts. I mean, when it comes to just overall athleticism at this stage of his career, from his front-end speed, it's actually kind of right where like the Pages range is. It's just about those initial reads and making that decision and staying locked in. So really good to see Teoscar's defense show some life. And I think, honestly, a big takeaway now is you're not hearing those vocal chants to get Teoscar Hernandez to move to left field. And yes, when everyone gets healthy and Tommy Edman gets back, depending on what happens to Conforto, and you got Kike and Kim and some options you can have, Alex Paul.
Depends on what, if Conforto continues to struggle like we've seen, you know, if they go give Alex Call a little more run and he can't do it, I still kind of want to see Teo in left field simply because he can give you more offense in left field, and then that allows you to move Pages to right, Edman to center. I think that's your ideal outfield lineup, both defensively and offensively. If Edman comes back clutch, you can throw Kike out there as well sometimes.
Oh,
so I still think that's the move to make, but you're right. It sounds
if
like
it's my team, he's in left field.
Yeah, it sounds like they have no intention of making it. The good news for Teo is he will never be, for the rest of this year and in the playoffs, in an outfield as big and as great as Coors Field's right field is, which is a long way to run. He still should have caught the balls he dropped out in Colorado, but he won't see that again. But he's been taking, this is what we were talking about, guys. He has been taking batting practice defensively on the field. This is something you see like Will Ireton, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter out there doing, relievers out there doing, kids of players out there catching and shagging fly balls. It's what you see during the Home Run Depot, all those kids in the T-Mobile shirts doing. Yeah. Teo's doing it during batting practice because he wants to see the ball off the bat. He wants to see where he needs to get his jumps from, where he needs to come in, when he needs to go back, when the ball's curving or slicing, to be able to get to some of those balls. He's been doing more practice in that. As he told us after the game, he said he's doing it because his bat is struggling right now. He knows his offense is not able to help the team, and his defense has not been helping the team. So he wants to help the team better defensively, at the very least. And we've seen a little bit better effort from him since that Coors Field game from now. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, in some of these team meetings the players has or defensive meetings they have, some of the veterans on this team, we're talking guys like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Miguel Rojas, Miggy Rowe, if they had a conversation with him and just said, you know, this is one area you can improve upon, you can put a little more effort in. It's one way to help the team. We've heard a lot of guys, whether it's Conforto, whether it's Mookie, whether it's Freddie, they're willing to do whatever it takes to help the team. If their bat's not going, they'll do it with the glove. If their glove's not going, they'll try to work at bats, work walks, whatever it takes. So hopefully some of those guys might have had a talk with Teo to tell him to pick it up on the effort side.
Yeah, and let's be frank. I mean, it's clear that there was a conversation between the team leaders and Teoscar Hernandez. People asking
Ooh,
for
I
the
like
best.
this. D-Mac, do you think Walker Buehler to the pen would be good for the playoffs? I'm glad this guy brought it up because I've been wanting to know this for a while.
We'll answer that question next, but first let's hear from Teo, then we'll get all into Walker Buehler. That's coming up next here on the Dodgers Nation postgame show.
Teoscar, what was Zach Gallen just either what was he doing so well or what was kind of missing just on the offensive side for you all tonight?
I think he was using his fastball and hitting the corners. It was put it in a spot that basically it's hard to make a good contact. It's one of those days that he was pitching really good.
He made that really nice defensive play, sliding catches. How was that side of the ball been for the defensive end?
Just working a little bit on my reaction and my jumps during batting practice, trying to get better. Obviously, I'm not doing the best hitting, so I have to put a little more effort on the defensive side so I can help the team in something.
Are you doing anything differently before the games, like preparing for it?
Not really. Just go and batting practice, taking reps, seeing the ball off the bat, and trying to make the best reaction that I can.
Jay said he thought the at-bats tonight were different than they were over the last week. Did you credit that to the off day, to what Gallen was doing? What do you think that was?
I think Gallen was pitching pretty good. I think when the pitcher deserved the credit, I think you have to give it to him. And it was one of those days.
Was he doing anything kind of differently than what you as a group had planned for or expected from him?
Not really. He always the kind of pitcher that uses fastballs a lot. Before, maybe he was missing in the middle of the plate, and we were taking advantage of that. But today he was hitting the corner, so it was really hard to get into a good pitch and put it in play.
So there was Teoscar Hernandez, and hey, like he told us that, hey, I mean, he doesn't feel like he's doing enough on the offensive side. So, hey, the best way to kind of make up for that and just try to help a team any way you can is to try to increase the effort level on defense. We've seen that, and I think he realizes that if his play that we saw in Colorado had continued, that there would be a pretty good chance that he would get moved to left field, because Dave Roberts already said down in San Diego, when he was asked about moving to the left field, he said it was a great thought, that he hadn't had a conversation with Teo about it, but clearly it's something they were considering, or at least having conversations about. So if he wants to stay in right field, he has to continue to perform at this level defensively. Do you guys want me to block the Altuve guy? It's a little past his bedtime.
It's like Doug Davis. He shares your name,
Doug
too.
Davis.
You want to give me crap for Michael Conforto? Doug Davis.
Hey, Doug, get a better name with your stupid name, Doug Davis. It's a terrible name. Your parents called you Doug? Awful, Doug Davis. Come on now. But
we want to talk about Walker Buehler. I want to talk about Walker Buehler. That's my boy.
That's your boy. So before the show today, we got the breaking news before the game that he had been released.
Not even DFA'd. Released. He got the Chris Taylor treatment.
He did. It was a straight up release, and they were calling up a pretty heralded prospect in their organization to give an opportunity to pitch. And look, the truth of the matter is he really has done for the Red Sox what Noah Syndergaard did for the Dodgers a couple years back, where really he's someone that's coming off of surgery that just couldn't be effective. I mean, the strikeout rate, career lows in the 16%
What surgery is he
range.
coming off of?
I mean, he still had major surgery
2 years ago.
but
3 years ago.
He's never, but you're talking about multiple Tommy Johns. And when you've had
So is Shohei Ohtani, and he's out here throwing 103 miles per hour.
But that's why, one, you have to appreciate Shohei on a level, and two, that your chances of getting back to the guy you were after one Tommy John are lower. And then when you have a second one, they're even lower than that. I mean, there's a lot more Walker Buehlers than Nathan Eovaldi.
They didn't release Dustin May, and that's a guy that's got 2 Tommy Johns.
Well, he had
he
a flexor tendon repair. And the truth of the matter is here's the other thing too, is the Walker Buehler, it's not just it's not just because he's had multiple Tommy Johns. That's not the number one. That's not the only reason why he's not effective, right? It's always more complicated than that. And the truth is that even before the first Tommy John in 2021, when he was the betting favorite to win the Cy Young as late as August, it was not the same fastball that we saw in 18, 19, and 20, right? It wasn't the same use of that four-seam fastball. He kind of reinvented himself. He threw more two-seam. He threw more cutter. But the truth of the matter is the bottom line is last year in the regular season with the Dodgers, he was not effective. And he was close to getting released last year. Then in the postseason, 15 innings, had a sub-4 ERA, sub-4 FIP, got the final 3 outs of the World Series. But is that enough? I mean, I don't know why. I see Dodgers fans everywhere, and no one loves Walker Buehler more than I do. I love Walker effing Buehler. Like, he is a part of Dodgers lore forever. He should never have to buy a shot of whiskey, a shot of bourbon, anything in the city of Los Angeles as long as he lives. But what role does he have on this team? What starter is he better than? None of them. Which bullpen piece? First of all, if you throw him into the Dodgers bullpen, he wouldn't even want that. Right? He thinks that for him, like when we talked about the Padres as a possible team, they have Sears in that role, right? I mean, if you're Walker Buehler, you want to have more opportunities to be a starting pitcher before you succumb to being a reliever in this league. Because once you're a reliever, you're a reliever. You're not stretched out as a starter. You're not viewed as a starter. So that makes zero sense. I mean, I love Walker Buehler, but if you love somebody, let it go. And you think you have to accept the fact that his last memory, his last moment as a Dodger should be striking Alex Verdugo, not trying to scratch and claw his way onto this roster and hoping, let's be honest, only way Walker Buehler would make sense for this team is if maybe 5 guys got injured. Like at the minimum 5 guys. Like I don't understand at all.
5 guys. Why are you talking about 5 guys? You want a burger, don't you? You want a burger and fries, those peanuts they got while you're waiting for your order?
I love 5 guys. You know, 6 guys, no. 4 guys, not enough.
It has to
5
be 5 guys.
Perfect
enough. It has to be the entire starting rotation for Walker Buehler. Now look,
there's so many fries there, bro.
The fries are good. Walker Buehler's my boy. I just want to say that out. It's, you know, he dunked on me a few years ago in the 2020
Michael, there's
playoffs.
not time for this.
He's dunked on me.
What did he say?
But that's my boy. I talked to him in the offseason. I talked to him over the course of his free agency. He essentially was told by the Dodgers, if you want to hang around, we got plan A, plan B, plan C to kind of go through. And if, all those plans don't line up, we might have space for you and bring you back. And if they do line up, we're probably not going to have room for you. What I was told was it was Roki Sasaki who was kind of the final straw when Roki Sasaki chose to sign with the Dodgers. That essentially meant there was no place, no room for Walker Buehler on this roster. He knew that as well. They were in great communication with him throughout the offseason. He pivoted, and now he went over to the Boston Red Sox. Now, Doug wants to blame Walker Buehler's injury history. He wants to blame the 2 Tommy John surgeries. There is something to that. There's also the fact that this guy, first of all, he's a Dodgers legend, right? We all love Walker Buehler. Who cares what he does in the regular season when the postseason shows up? Unlike Clayton Kershaw for most of his postseason career, Walker Buehler shuts. He becomes unhittable. He becomes the Nolan Ryan of the postseason.
Was he unhittable in Game 6 of the 2021 NLCS? When Eddie Rosario hit a bomb and
that was one guy. Eddie Rosario hit a bomb off him, and he was pitching on 3 days rest.
I understand that,
and that's because dead arm Max Scherzer couldn't make his start, so Walker Buehler went in on short rest to make that start. That's the kind of guy you want, whether he didn't have the success or not. The offense had given him Albert Pujols, Mookie Betts. They all struck out with the bases loaded that game.
Totally. Yep.
I don't forget about that. The point is, Buehler has had an entire college career at Vanderbilt, which he won the College World Series, had to get Tommy John after he pitched with that UCL injury in the College World Series and won a World Series championship for his alma mater, Vanderbilt, then went and got Tommy John surgery, which is why the Dodgers were able to steal him in that draft because nobody wanted to touch him because he was rehabbing. And they were able to bring him back. Unfortunately, he had to go through Tommy John again. That changed his velocity. Walker Buehler used to be a guy, we call him butane, right? He used to throw gas 100+ miles per hour when he was out there. He's not that pitcher anymore. He's throwing 93, 94, 95. When you lose velocity, and for most pitchers as they age, and again, I'm going to go to a la Clayton Kershaw, you have to kind of relearn how to pitch. It's why Walker Buehler went down to Florida in the middle of last season and kind of had to relearn some mechanics and learn how to pitch. He told me during the postseason he thought he had figured something out as far as his curveball, as his off-speed pitches. He thought he had figured out essentially what we talk about with Kershaw, right? The Maddox way, to be an artist, to paint the corners and things like that without the velocity. And he thought he was going to be lights out this year in Boston. Didn't play that way. Also, for right-handed pitchers, even left-handed pitchers, tough to play with that green monster in Fenway Park. I don't know. Maybe in a bigger park he would do a little better. I don't know. I know people think that I'm gassing up Walker Buehler here, but the fact of the matter is he's not the same pitcher. Over time, I think he will learn how to pitch with his diminished stuff, with the pitches that he has. And I know he doesn't give a shit about the regular season. Walker Buehler only cares about the postseason. And so the reason why this move was made was not because of bonus or incentives. It was to give that guy who they called up today, I forget his name, unfortunately, but that rookie who they called up today made his major league debut against the Pirates, lost the game, but showed some good stuff with 8 strikeouts. It was to bring him up, give him a shot, especially when they're in a playoff race, and Buehler's been struggling lately, and to do it before September 1st. So now Walker Buehler has 2 days to get on a team, get on the roster, and be postseason eligible, which is when the big game Walker Buehler shows up. The Dodgers, unfortunately, are not the Dodgers starting rotation like last year where we had all the plethora of injuries. We arguably have too many starting pitchers right now, so I don't see any need for Walker Buehler. I don't see any need to put him in the bullpen. He's not a reliever. It's something he did for the postseason and closed out Game 5 of the World Series. But I think he wants the ability to start. He knows he's a starting pitcher. He's built up as a starting pitcher. He's going to go to a team, whether it's the Mets, the Phillies, Yankees, Padres just lost Michael King. Maybe there's a team there. I don't want to see him on the Padres. But these are teams who I think are going to look to add him for the postseason push and hope they get the postseason Walker Buehler of old. But regardless, he's a Dodgers legend, so I don't care. I don't always have him, but I don't think the Dodgers need him.
I think it's a numbers crunch situation. I really do. I mean, for a guy that just hasn't been good all year, you bring him back in the middle of a division race for a team that is about to embark on another journey throughout the postseason. I mean, in a perfect world, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it'd be awesome.
If he's released with a sub-2 ERA, throwing 100, of course you take him back, right?
Let me ask you a hypothetical question, though. 2 months ago, let's say, right, around the All-Star break, if the Red Sox had released Walker Buehler then, and you're talking about Blake Snell on the IL, Roki Sasaki on the IL, Glasnow on the IL at the time, coming back right around that. If that was the team then, right, when Robleski's starting and Ohtani's not built up yet and Sheehan's making starts and, Landon Knack was making starts, would you want Walker Buehler then if he was been released 2 months ago, would you sign him then?
See, I think that's a fair question because that's a different scenario. And a couple months ago, the outlook on a lot of these guys was very different, right? Tyler Glasnow was still working his way back, trying to refine those mechanics, going through some stuff. Blake Snell worked through that shoulder inflammation. Shohei Ohtani, could they get him to 5 innings? Will Yamamoto be able to sustain? Will Clayton Kershaw be able to sustain? Will Roki Sasaki be able to come back? There's a lot of questions. You still get Sheehan back, right? But I think the difference there is not as much how that roster looked. It was more of, okay, the Red Sox gave him $21 million, which is essentially identical to what the qualifying offer would have been that the Dodgers did not extend to him. So they would be on the hook for that. The Dodgers, a prorated, very minimal of the league minimum. It'd just be something that would have been pennies that you would take a flyer on just because if he chose to be with the Dodgers, they were going to be able to guarantee him a spot in the rotation. They weren't going to be able to, guarantee that we are going to transition you to the bullpen. It would be, okay, guys are out, come eat innings, a lot like some of the other guys that were making starts during that time. We saw, look, Bobby Miller's made starts for this team this year. Landon Knack's made starts for this team this year. We've had guys eat innings throughout the season. If you want to come back, make some starts, and be an insurance policy that you could kind of have, and then if guys come back, you move off, then fine. The difference here, though, is September 1st is in 2 days. And if you would bring him back, that would be the way to get him eligible for your postseason rotation or bullpen, and it's too difficult.
You would have had him. He could eat innings during those dog days of summer. As you got healthy, suddenly Buehler goes on the IL, which, we're seeing Alex Vesia on there right now. And so you put him down there, and then, if you need the big game pitcher, it is. Walker Buehler's, he had a 6 ERA in the regular season last year?
Yeah, close to it, yeah.
Nobody wanted to see him in the postseason until he was in the postseason and he was shoving and he was performing like the Walker Buehler we know during the playoffs. And so really would only want him on this roster.
Let me ask you this then, Michael. Let me ask you a question.
Roberts likes to say he has the pulse, right? He has the ability to perform under pressure when the lights are the brightest, when the moment is the biggest. Look, Walker Buehler went out to the bullpen on his own, told the front office on the bus ride over to the Yankee Stadium before Game 5, I want to be in the bullpen if things get wonky, if they're ready. That's the kind of guy Walker Buehler is. He wants to close out the World Series, where most people would shy away from that and stick to their roles. Walker Buehler would do anything it takes. So you really just want him for the postseason. It's unfortunate, though, that you can't do that. And really, as many people in this chat are mentioning, this team needs offense. This team needs Max Muncy back. This team needs Tommy Edman back. That's what they need. They need either a new left fielder or a left fielder that can actually hit. Or Michael Conforto to suddenly go crazy and turn a corner here and be the Michael Conforto of the Mets and Giants days. That's what this team needs. I don't think they need starting pitching. I don't think they need bullpen help. And to close this conversation out, Doug and I were talking for the last couple games. If the postseason were to start today and your entire pitching staff is healthy for the most part, what are your 13 guys on a postseason DS roster or CS roster? We talked about in the show before, we think Kershaw and Sheehan are probably not on the roster. They're on a taxi squad. Does Enriquez, who throws 103 miles per hour and hasn't allowed a run in 5-6 appearances, is he making it? Because he might not even make it if Kopech is healthy, for example. There's no room right now. Guys are going to have to be left off the roster on this team who are very, very good pitchers. And Walker Buehler would be a guy who wouldn't even be able to make this roster for that postseason anyways right now.
Well, Campbell's saying Conforto wasn't good with San Francisco. He was really good in the second half of the season, had like a 138 weighted runs created plus. 17 of his 20 homers came outside of San Francisco. Had a really good finish, but yeah, I mean, that's second worst hitters park in baseball. But the question I want to ask you, because this is kind of the prevailing theory I've seen, kind of the case for Walker Buehler. I've seen some people throw this out there. Well, look at Kike Hernandez, right? Regular season, below average player. Postseason, he becomes Giancarlo Stanton, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But the difference, though, is that sure, Kike can come up in big spots like he has time and again. Last year, NLDS, Game 5 of the World Series. I mean, he sparks that rally. So many examples you can point to, right? But it's different when it's a position player who's batting lower in your order, right? Kike can be in a game and go 0 for 4, and they could still win. Or Kike can be in a game and go 2 for 4 and supplement the top of the offense if they're not having success and be a reason why they won. But when you throw Buehler on the mound, that could lose you a series. Like his success or failure could ultimately determine a win or loss. If he comes out there as a guy out of the bullpen in a multi-inning role and he gets shelled, you're losing in a game. If he would start, it doesn't even make any sense. It makes zero sense to bring back Walker Buehler. I don't even entertain the idea for a split second. You guys tell me, if you would have Walker Buehler, if you would have him out of the bullpen, let's throw, for example, would you rather have Walker Buehler as a multi-inning guy right now than Emmet Sheehan?
No.
I mean, experience over talent, maybe. But I mean, even Kersh is looking for innings, right?
We said Kersh is a 3-time Cy Young winner and MVP. He probably would not be on the postseason roster right now. He'd be on the taxi squad. I know guys are talking about it. Give him a start. I don't see him starting over Glasnow, Ohtani, Snell, or Yamamoto. I just don't see it.
I don't see you there. And I almost think too, like, if he came back, like obviously last year was such a great moment. I mean, Game 3 of the 2018 World Series was a moment. Game 163 in 2018 was such a moment. I mean, if he came back as some like, hey, please take me back. You know, like my girlfriend, like, you put all my stuff in a box.
Talking about Buehler?
Yeah, you know, and I'm out on the street. Can someone take me back? And you know, he comes back and he's like
handling outside.
Yeah, like, you know, like
Vince
exactly
with one of those wood signs.
Yeah,
please bring me back.
One of those sticks with the things on
Can
them.
I have the locker next to Kike?
I don't want to see that version. He's too proud of a guy, right? I don't want to see him in that situation. I almost think that like when I close my eyes and think Walker Buehler, I want it to always be of him striking out Alex Verdugo. I don't want him back here in a situation. It's an interesting topic.
It's an interesting topic because he wasn't great with the Red Sox, but we still remember Walker Buehler, the man from 2021 playoffs and all the starts he made that year. You can go to 2022. I mean, remember 2019 against the Nationals? He was the best starting pitcher on that staff. Even though they lost in 5 games in the DS, he was the man.
Della Production saying, where are my unbuttons?
I'll go one.
I got
I'll
request
go one
the best.
for Dell.
Whoa, save that for the OF, bro. But seriously, I do want to make sure that I point this out.
I agree. Kershaw should be the comeback player of the year. I agree.
Certainly. I mean, you could absolutely make that case.
About that.
I mean, I have to look at whoever else is kind of in the running there, but it's tough for a guy that's had so much success throughout his career, but the multiple injuries.
The other thing with Walker, and that's the thing, is you can't teach playoff clutchness, right?
You can.
Robert Ory with the Lakers, Derek Fisher of the Lakers, Shohei Hernandez in the postseason. There are guys who are just different when it switches to October. Reggie Jackson, Derek Jeter. Who was the guy? Who's the guy? He was with the Mets and the Nationals for a while. Killed the Dodgers out here. Remember that run when the Mets went and played the Royals? I can't even think of his name. Second base. Was it Murphy?
Yes. No, I mean, that's always going to happen, right?
Some guys just go crazy when it turns to October. Walker Buehler is a guy that you want on the roster in October. Unfortunately, you don't want him on your roster April through September, where the Dodgers are at.
And that's the thing. So I just want to make sure this is not we're piling on to Walker Buehler. He's one of my favorite pitchers to ever pitch for this organization. He's a legendary figure in Dodgers lore. This is more of Daniel Walker
Murphy.
Buehler
Thank
is
you,
bad.
Chad. Thank you, Chad. Bernie Williams, another Mr. October. You want those guys, but look, Walker Buehler knows he's that guy, and instead of no role with the Dodgers right now, he can have a role with the Padres. He can have a role with the Mets. Shoot, the Phillies just lost Zach Wheeler. That was their best pitcher, their number one starter in a post-game series. I could see the Phillies, who they're in a chase right now for the 2 seed with the Dodgers. I can see the Phillies grabbing him right now. Walker Buehler would love the bank. It's crazy out there in the postseason in Philadelphia, so he's got options. I know fans want a reunion, but he's got options. It can still show what he can do in the postseason. And honestly, that's all Walker Buehler cares about. That's the guy I know. That's all he cares about.
And the other thing too is this. Is that this is not a Walker is terrible take. This is the bullpen and the rotation are in as good of a shape as they've been in years at this point of the season. You literally have 6 starting pitchers that are better than Walker Buehler right now, and you have a bullpen that continues to get healthy. Yes, they did have their little slide, and then guys got healthy, right? Tanner Scott's back. Kirby Yates is back. You're going to get Michael Kopech back. Guys have started to emerge. Edgardo Henriquez. Anthony Bond has had a 1.20 ERA since the All-Star break, right? You've got Jack Dreyer and Ben Kasparius, who, when Ben Kasparius comes out of the bullpen, he's the guy you can use in leverage situations. This is more a testament to the quality and the depth that the Dodgers have in their rotation and their bullpen versus, look, trust me, like if they were down multiple starters and Buehler was an option, I would be buying into the fact that I don't give a crap about his numbers. I care about what I think that he can do when the lights are bright. He just says F it, and he goes out there and performs. But unfortunately, this is not the situation. My question for you is, where do you think he ends up with a contender? I mean, can you imagine the nightmare feel that would be?
Correct.
The thought of him on the Padres?
A lot of people in the chat saying, there's no space for him. He's past his prime. I agree, but careful what we wish for, because he could land with a contender. He could land Phillies, Mets, Yankees, Padres, Astros, someone said in the chat. I looked at their rotation. They could use a guy. They got a couple guys injured in their starting rotation. So be careful what you wish for, because you could see Walker Buehler land on a team that you might meet in October. The Dodgers know him better than anybody, but I'm not sure if they want to face him. They faced him in Boston, and they lost that game.
That's a really good point. That's a good point. And you're right. Like, there are those guys. I mean, the Christian Walkers, right? I mean, guys that, like, when they play the Dodgers, they have success. And Buehler is that guy for other teams as well. I'll never forget that. I mean, Daniel Murphy was that was one of those moments, man. When he hit that bomb. Because
4 or 5 home runs in that NLDS.
It was all consecutive. I know. And then the bomb he hit in the clincher against when Zach Greinke was having his best year.
Yep. Took Kirby, lefty on lefty.
Hate that crap. It still burns in my soul. So, like, I don't know. I mean, it's fun to think about. I know we've talked about it a lot, but I think at the end of the day, you got a month plus, really, to just stay healthy. Like, if you can stay healthy and
27-game sprint.
It is a sprint. I think that one thing that I haven't heard really a lot of people mention is they did make it a point of emphasis this offseason to look into any way they could to try to have a healthy rotation and a healthy bullpen heading in October. And they knew that when you have guys that throw hard and throw with a lot of spin rate, that those are the guys that are at a higher risk of getting injured. What I think the plan was, and I've talked to some people kind of about this and just kind of throwing out theories. I think the plan was they just came down to the fact that, hey, these guys only have a certain amount of bullets. And if you see the check engine light on, if you see any issues with them, you don't pitch them. And that's why I think they've sacrificed, I don't know, Michael, you tell me, 15 wins, 20 wins in the regular season to be able to have a healthy bullpen and rotation into the postseason.
Scott's blown 7 of them alone.
Yeah, no, Scott, Yates. I mean, think about it. Like, how many times have you seen someone have anything and they push through it, right? Like, I think Snell and Glass now, all these guys could have been back sooner if the postseason was going to start. So I think they played this thing well. I think they are kind of playing 4D chess against the rest of the league. Look at the Phillies. They lost Zach Wheeler. Look at the Brewers. They lost McGill. I mean, like, I don't want to, not find every piece of wood you can knock on, right? But man, I can't. I mean, no, tonight was terrible, right? The offense was bad, but I can't help but be very cautiously optimistic, knowing
last year. I don't mean to cut you off.
Cut me off.
But last year was a great example of exactly what you're saying, right? Even though Glasnow was out, they gave Glasnow every opportunity to get right, to come back for the postseason. They gave Walker Buehler months off to work himself to get right, to be ready for the postseason. They gave Yamamoto like 2 months off to get right for the postseason. And what it taught them was, we don't need to win 111 games like we did in 2022. We don't need to win 107 or whatever like we did in 2019, or 106 like we did in 2021. We can win 98 games, whatever it was last year, 96, 98, I don't remember, and win the World Series as long as we're healthy at the right time. And what did they have? They had a healthy Yamamoto, they had a healthy Walker Buehler, they had a healthy Jack Flaherty, and that's all they had, and a healthy bullpen. And they ran the whole table. And so sometimes that's all you need. And so I think they learned from that, and they said, guys like Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Clayton Kershaw even, you're not right now. Ohtani, take your time. We thought Ohtani could maybe be in the opener, right? Spring training. Yeah. We didn't see him till much later. So they know all that matters is October, those 11 games. And a lot of guys in this chat, a lot of people in this chat are asking, what are the odds the Dodgers repeat? Some people say there's no way this team can repeat from what we've seen on the field the whole year. We really haven't seen them 100% healthy. And once they're 100% healthy and the team that we thought they'd have at the beginning of the season is ready to go, I think they have best a shot as anybody, because they have the ability of health of guys like Will Smith, who's only played in like 68% of the games this year.
Really, is that low?
Yeah, because Dalton Rushing's been able to give him some spell. So I think health is what they're banking on, and we know that from what they did at the trade deadline more so than anything else. So health is what they're banking on to win 11 in October.
Some of these I just can't read. I mean, come on, Matchy Gooey Kelly. I mean, funny. Come on, Delirium. Let's okay. We're gonna rock out the chats.
James Outman lady. Man,
no,
we don't talk about former Dodgers anymore.
Yeah, Delirium 9. It does seem that way.
He's
Andrew Friedman playing not chess, but the Illuminati role-playing game, all in preparation for 3 October series. I think, Michael, part of this too, it's not just that it's late, it's that, like, typically a lot of times we do this, it's late, like on a Friday. You know what I mean? Where people are really kind of...
Where is it? Are you guys out at the bar right now?
Off the sauce, I like it.
Chat? You guys drinking?
Simply Rosie, usually positive. She's like Mrs.
I love Simply Rosie.
Positive too. This is a wild card team right now.
They're not a wild card team, Rosie.
They would play a wild card team.
Well, actually, they are a wild card team because they would be the
wild card round. But they would be a division winner facing the wild card team.
Right. You are what your record is, and right now they're an NL West leading team.
Ron Big Dodgers are still betting favorites. Insert Ipe joke here. We don't talk about that.
You think Ipe can gamble in prison?
I don't know. To me,
internet a few hours.
To me, he's Voldemort. To me, he's a name that I don't say. The man tried to tarnish his legacy here. Dude on the left was watching a Michael Jackson video prior to this from Joe Man. What do you?
Hey, happy birthday to Michael Jackson, by the way. It would have been his 67th birthday today.
Jamona. You know that he plays for this team, or Emmet Sheehan, and that's what someone did in the chat yesterday. I'm sorry.
That's a reach.
That's a reach. That's definitely a reach. I got my group chat sitting in their steps for the day. Embarrassing. D-Mac helped me get through this shift. Where do you work?
Today's offense is
a first-round exit.
Not even a playoff team. They can't do that.
D-Mac is such a Hufflepuff. Dude, I'm a Slytherin, bro. Relax.
Yeah, man.
Relax. Let's take some more comments here. We got Bilal K. Bilal K, we don't need more hugs from Roberts. We need an I'm going to get the belt manager. You know, do you want to shed some light on that? I mean, because I feel like you know Dave Roberts well. We both heard something about like Dave Roberts kind of initiating something within the team to kind of motivate a guy at a certain position to improve. I mean,
I don't know why they are talking about the manager who has the highest winning percentage of all active managers in baseball, a manager who's been to 4 World Series, who's won 2 of them with this team. Arguably, I mean, we are so spoiled Dodgers fans for this era of Dodger baseball. It's ridiculous. Look, Don Mattingly, his predecessor, couldn't even get to a CS, let alone a World Series, right? Dave Roberts came in his first season, gets the CS, after that the World Series. He is not the kind of manager that is going to crack the whip or break out the belt like this guy says. That's not his style. And I don't know if you guys have seen this Netflix documentary on the Dallas Cowboys that's out right now.
I haven't watched it yet.
They've talked about Jimmy Johnson, obviously, and then what he was able to build and the kind of manager he was. He was a crack the whip, break the belt kind of manager or coach, head coach. Barry Switzer, who came after him, was not like that. He's more like Dave Roberts. Other managers that have come from I'm mixing up, head coaches that came to the Cowboys after that, they all had their own different styles. Dave Roberts is like your father figure or favorite uncle, right? He's the guy that's going to put his arm around you. He truly cares about you. He knows you intimately. He tries to get to know each and every one of his players on a deeper level. He cares about them in a way that when they go out in the field, they want to give 110% and run through a wall for Dave Roberts. And he's also the kind of manager that is not afraid to call guys out. He will call Shohei Ohtani out if he's not seeing the kind of effort or the at-bats that he's used to. He will call guys out. Last year, when they lost in Atlanta and they found out Tyler Glasnow was not going to be back for the rest of the season, he called out Walker Buehler, who we talked about tonight, and said, you need to be Walker effing Buehler, the guy that we know and have loved and has been the big game pitcher. And since that moment on, Walker Buehler was. So I don't think we need a guy who's going to piss off veterans and crack the whip and break.
So what you're saying is Dave Roberts is a much better manager than Alex Cora.
He's also a better manager than Aaron Boone.
Much better. But I think that's a perfect way to tie everyone on the show, Michael. Who's been the big topic? Walker Buehler. And then someone wants to criticize Dave Roberts. If you could point to a single moment that launched this team into that run, a lot of these players mention it. It was the moment you referenced in Atlanta. Tyler Glasnow. Remember, Shohei's not on this team last year. Blake Snell's not on this team last year. Kirsch isn't on this team last year.
As pitchers,
Shohei, right? Those guys, without their inclusion, you had Yamamoto was banged up and Tyler Glasnow. Those were supposed to be your 1 and 2, right?
Flaherty had been there a couple of weeks.
And Flaherty had really, he was kind of like a blue collar ace in a way for this team as far as the role he had, getting some game 1 starts. And let's not forget, I mean, Flaherty goes in game 5 and goes in any in the third, right? Gives those 5 runs. It's not like he was some Cy Young level pitcher for them, but it was Dave Roberts tapping into that version of Walker Buehler in that very moment. That was an FU. That was a, hey, I'm going to not like necessarily embarrass you, but I'm going to put pressure on you. He could have called him into his office, right? But he said, I'm going to do this in front of all of your teammates.
Yep.
Just so I'm going to plant my flag right here. And you got that version of Walker Buehler. If that version of Walker Buehler did not emerge from that, this team would have won the World Series last year.
Last postseason run was a Dave Roberts masterclass. He outcoached every single manager he went up against. Mike Schilt on San Diego, who they went crazy and started Dylan Cease on short rest to try to close it out in game 4. Backfired. Dodgers took control of momentum and won it. He by far outcoached the Mets. And then he went out and absolutely masterclassed Aaron Boone as far as managing in the World Series. So, we criticized Dave Roberts a lot up until that point. But he gets his flowers. He got his extension for it. Winning it last year, he was an absolute masterclass. And look, I like to blame Dave Roberts sometimes, some of his decisions, especially with bullpen decisions or leaving guys in too long or too late. are head scratching to me. But when it comes to putting blame on guys like Andrew Friedman or Gomer, Brandon Gomes, or the hitting coaches, people like to blame. Mark Pryor, they like to blame. Dave Roberts, they like to blame. Sometimes I like to say, especially when it comes to like Conforto or something, you guys are talented millionaire major leaguers who've been playing this game your whole life. At some point, you have to play up to your capabilities and play to your abilities, right?
Yeah.
And stop trying to point the finger at somebody else. Look in the mirror.
It's an easy target. It's the
yourself.
low-hanging fruit. And as you point out, these guys, I mean, as Mookie says, right, they drive Benzes too. And like a lot of these decisions are coin flip decisions. Some of them go the Dodgers' way, some of them don't. But it doesn't mean that just because the decision was bad, that it was the wrong decision. But I think the end-all be-all for Dave Roberts is it's just the fact that, yeah, he might not be the perfect manager. There is no perfect manager. But I do think that he's the perfect manager for a team that has so many different superstars, so many different all-stars and future Hall of Famers to be able to buy into that. Hey, bat sixth. Hey, bat fifth. Hey, sit this day. Hey, platoon that day. Hey, come in this role. Hey, come here and be the 4 starter for this team instead of being the 1 on another team, right? So he, like, his biggest strengths, and I can say this, being around this team for a couple of years, just kind of having, I mean, not as much as Michael's been doing this for, I don't know how long. 12 years. Yeah. But the times that I've seen Dave around this team with no cameras, no nothing, like, you can feel, I had a player say, like, you can feel like the love from him and what that does for your confidence. I mean, does Max Muncy come out of that slump without the support of Dave Roberts? We'll never know. But I definitely think that, well, let's put it this way. The Dodgers' problem is not Dave Roberts, if there is a problem to point to.
Right, it's got to go both ways, Doug. Mookie Betts is a great example, right? Mookie was terrible for 3/4 of the season, and the last 3 weeks, he's been back to kind of the Mookie Betts we know. He's hitting over 300. He's kind of seemed to turn it around offensively. When he was wrong, people wanted to blame Roberts, say they got to bench him. They want to blame Freeman. They want to blame all these people. They want to blame the hitting coaches. If we ask Mookie Betts, like, why suddenly it turned around, I don't think he's going to say, oh, well, finally the hitting coaches helped me, or finally Dave Roberts helped me or gave me confidence, or look, he knows it's in himself. And as we know from talking to him, he finally just said, fuck it, I'm just going to go out there and leave it up to God, I think was the exact words he said. And I think it's because he stopped worrying about his bat speed and just started shortening his swing to get to some pitches. And look, his confidence is back. So it got to go both ways. If we want to put the blame on the coaches and Dave Roberts and the front office when things aren't going bad, and when things are going good, then we got to, give them their flowers and give the players their flowers too. Because to me, it's more what those players do internally in those things.
For sure. I think that's a great point.
Are doing.
That's such a great point, Michael, that does not get brought up enough. Is like, you got to hold the players accountable too. But let's end on this. Okay, the big debate: the 4 major cities. The 4 major cities. Have you been on this? Okay,
yeah.
So L.A., New York, Chicago are kind of the consensus top 3. What do you have as the 4 major cities? I'll give you mine after yours. But do you have a 4? So I'll give you my take on this one. I think you go Springfield, Quahog, Smallville, and Gotham. Metropolis,
Gotham.
Hogwarts.
Okay.
No, but okay. In all truth, this is my take.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Right? So,
I'm very interested.
The actual answer, Doug, is if you go by population size, large cities, things, restaurants per capita, people per capita, all that. It's L.A., New York, Chicago, Houston. That's the actual 4. But this is an open-ended question. People always say 4 cities for what? So I would ask you the same question. 4 favorite cities, 4 most popular internationally.
That's why I think,
you want to visit, you want to know.
I think it's a combination of, I think population's a factor. I think kind of like international relevance. I think the industry that's there. I think this is kind of like my rational take on this. I know that this topic has infuriated a lot of people, but I think that the true answer is the top 3 are almost unanimous. That it's 100%. New York, LA, and Chicago. And the 4th one can 100%. Be debated. Anyone from Miami, DC, San Francisco.
Correct.
Right? And then
and people have different rationales. So what would your 4th be, and what's your rationale for that choice?
I only thought about the fake cities with the cartoons and stuff.
Give me a real city.
My real one? Okay.
And Doug travels sometimes for the playoffs too. I've seen you around.
Honestly,
together.
I think I think you have to. Like DC is like the nation's capital, you know. It's like the White House is there.
I mean, Sacramento is the capital of California. We wouldn't even put it in the top 4 cities in California.
Well, first of all, Shaquille O'Neal said that LA was the new capital of California. But you know, San Francisco. You know, this is so weird because like I'm like in my mind, I'm like, you can't say Houston. That's freaking trash throw territory. And I'm like, you can't say San Francisco. The Giants are there. My mind's warped by like my sports biases. You know, but I do think that you gotta go LA, New York, Chicago, and then for the 4th city, just because Houston's big doesn't mean it's like the major city. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, NASA's there. I'm gonna just say, I think for it's like the fact some people call this the international capital, right? The international kind of capital, like the Latin capital. I'll go Miami. I'm gonna go 305. Yeah, I had some wild nights in Miami, man. Shout out to Pitbull. Shout out to the 305.
I want to know what the chat has to say. Chat, what is your answer?
Give it your top 4.
To your 4.
Gotham, Springfield, Quahog, Smallville, Hogwarts. Is Hogwarts a city? Emerald City.
Is a school.
Emerald City.
Emerald City, yeah.
Emerald City.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, what else?
At you.
I'm very curious, Michael.
So look, I think you can make a case for San Francisco. I think you can make a case for Boston. I think you can make a case for Houston. I think
that's what I'm saying. Interchangeable.
I think you can make a case for Atlanta. I love Atlanta. Atlanta to me is like LA of the South. But if you're talking about cities I'd like to go to that have great vibe, great restaurants, great people, diversity, that people in other countries want to come to the United States to come visit. And because if you look at the United States on a map, you're kind of picking off all 4 corners. To me, it would be Miami also.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, to me, it would be Miami
nice.
also.
We agree on something.
And because Messi's there, honestly.
Oh, yeah?
Messi's there. I kind of like Miami for that.
Wow. Oh, you know what?
What does the chat say is there for?
I changed one of my favorite movies is Roger Rabbit. How about Toontown?
Toontown needs to be on
Hogsmeade
as well. Sure.
Stars Hollow. What's the Gilmore? My mom likes Gilmore Girls. Stars Hollow Connect. Yeah, let's get you guys.
I want to know the chat. I mean, you gotta go away.
Oh my God, chat's blown up.
What does the chat say for the 4th city?
Oh, we got a super chat here. We got $9.99 from our friend Jason that says Doc punted games when he never had to. He makes stupid decisions he shouldn't and doesn't use his lineup right. He didn't put on a master class, but he did run circles around Boone FS. Okay.
Jason, I want to respond to that. I'll let you respond. Jason, he punted a World Series game. They punted World Series Game 4. They even punted Game 5 in New York. They did it because they could come back and win. So yes, you know, you can say that, but he punted NLCS Game 5. He punted World Series Game 4, and they still won him. Name another manager that can do that. Because yes, I was shocked as you were that they punted Game 4, but it doesn't matter because it all worked out for them.
Interesting. We got Jack. He says Miami, Speedster, D-Mac. Should we be worried about?
St. Louis?
It's just St. Louis. Man, we straight up jacked the Rams from them.
By the way, he's asking this because Mookie Betts and Will Smith talked about this on Mookie's podcast.
That's right.
They both took Washington, D.C.
Did they?
They both took Washington, D.C. I know it's the nation's capital. I get why you want to pick it. I don't see a whole lot of people
Justin
wanting
Lamas
to go
Boston.
there or it being one of the best cities.
For sports, New England, Boston. Philly is also a contender. LA, this is Simply Rosie. I like her answer. LA.
She's like,
I love Boston.
Like
no, this is solid. Che, that might be a common show. It says Fontana. Fontana, Seattle.
Someone took Toronto. It's not even in the country, guys.
On.
We met in the United States.
Come on.
That wasn't clear.
Come on. Rancho Cucamonga, Muad'Dib.
LA, Rancho, Fontana, Lancaster.
That's where Craig and that's where Craig lives.
Doug Davis, of course, says Houston.
Doug Davis, Houston. Miami D-Mac must have oh, come on. This guy. Just people, you guys will say anything on the internet. Okay. Alta Loma, Las Vegas, New Orleans. Vegas is actually relatively small.
Yeah. New Orleans could be up there. I could see that. Stockton, California.
Temecula. You can make a case for Temecula.
Kobe Bryant loves Temecula.
Detroit. Okay, guys, we're going off the absolute rails here, but that's going to do it here. Final thought for me is, like Dave Roberts said after the game, you got to flush this one. You really do have to flush this one. You don't worry about the offense not having a good night after a day off against a pitch that was on.
There's no more pickleball tournaments, no more all access, no more events, no more free bars, open bars. It's time to wake up tomorrow morning if you're Dodgers players when your alarm goes off. Get to the ballpark early and work on your hitting because that offense was bad tonight.
It was bad, and I see people still upset about the umpire, DMAC. This umpire is Angel Hernandez, apprentice. So glad Angel Hernandez retired. It was the only good call he made in his career. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Special thanks to NBC LA's Michael Duarte. If you don't walk, run over to X, follow him on X, follow him on Instagram, follow him on TikTok. Go read his stuff at NBC LA, and he'll be covering the Dodgers all season long for you as well. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, hit the like button on your way out. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and we are out.
How would you just kind of describe what you were seeing from him, or if it wasn't him, what you were seeing from your offense?
You know, he's been a good pitch series.
During the series, we talked about just the offense consistency that you were kind of seeing as you all left San Diego. Is there a frustrating piece to just coming off the off day and unable to kind of get back to what we've been seeing these last few days?
Yeah, this was the first one in a while, I think, in a week that we've seen sort of a lackluster performance, and we haven't seen that in a while. So, you know, I don't know if it was coming off the off day or what, but obviously you got to give credit to Gallen too. But it was one of those nights that I just didn't see, you know, the at-bats that we've been having, you know, the last week. You know, I wasn't a part of the game planning meeting, so I'm not sure kind of what we were kind of planning for. But you know, the swings we were getting, certainly it seems like he was executing, and we just really couldn't muster anything tonight.
Was Blake okay physically? I know the velocities are way down.
Yeah, Blake was fine. You know, just kind of, it's been a weird week for him, just having the baby and kind of trying to readjust, and the throwing schedule, the sleep schedule, all that stuff. So I think today he was just kind of, didn't have a whole lot in the tank tonight.
How important is it going to be to flush this kind of game, especially when you just look ahead and see kind of the opportunity you guys have over the next couple of weeks with the schedule?
Well, it's important to flush it, regardless of opponent. These guys are fighting, you know, for their lives. We've seen them a lot in interdivision, so there's no fear, and we've got to play well. You know, opportunities, whether it's the schedule or tougher opponent, I don't really think it matters. We got to go out and play good baseball, and